to the 7th summer performance of the St. Genevieve Municipal Band. We truly appreciate your joining us on this warm evening. Our first tune tonight is the 90-second long Flourish for Wind Band by Vaughan Williams. Written in 1939, Flourish for Wind Band was intended as an overture at a pageant, and in the decade following its premiere, was lost. In 1971, the score resurfaced and was finally published. Vaughan Williams' music has often been said to be characteristically English, in the same way as that of Gustav Holst, Frederick Delius, George Butterworth, and William Walton. In Albion, The Origins of the English Imagination, Peter Ackroyd writes, If that Englishness in music can be encapsulated in words at all, those words would probably be ostensibly familiar and commonplace, yet deep and mystical, as well as lyrical, melodic, melancholic, and nostalgic, yet timeless." End quote. Ackroyd quotes music critic John Alexander Fuller Maitland as having observed that in Vaughan Williams' style, one is never quite sure whether one is listening to something very old or very new. I hope you enjoy this short and powerful first piece, Flourish for Wind Band. Granger is well known for his folk tunes, including Irish Tune from County Derry, which we heard earlier this summer. This tune is based on a choral version that Granger wrote in 1928. In composing it, he said, "I had wished to voice Australian upcountry feeling, as Stephen Foster had with American countryside feelings in his songs. It was first sung at Granger's wedding in August 1928 at the Hollywood Bowl. The piece does not have words, but is sung in vowel syllables, such as ta, dee, and ah. Granger said this of wordless singing, Music carries its own special message to the soul, a message that is weakened if words, with their inevitably concrete thoughts so different from the vague cosmic suggestions of absolute music, are set to music. I hope you enjoy this folksy piece, Australian Upcountry Tune." largely been a minstrel song, became our state song under an act adopted by the General Assembly on June 30th, 1949. First published in 1914, the song did not sell well and was considered a failure. But by 1939, the song had gained popularity and 6 million copies had been sold. Sales increased substantially after Missourian Harry S. Truman became president, and it was reported that the Missouri Waltz was his favorite song. Although, when asked about his feelings, the following reply was published by the White House. President's attitude toward the song? He can take it or leave it. Is it really his favorite? No. Does he play it often? No. Is Margaret ever heard singing it? No. What is the president's reaction to the song's adoption by Missouri as the state song? See answer to first question. Although the song is often associated with Harry Truman, the president did not, as we know, claim it as his favorite song. In fact, he had this to say about it in a television interview. If you let me say what I think, I don't give a darn about it. But I can't say it out loud because it's the song of Missouri. It's as bad as the Star-Spangled Banner as far as music is concerned. I hope your attitude toward this tune is more positive than former President Truman's. Here is the Missouri Waltz. So disagreeable about that. I don't know. The first suite in E-flat for military band is considered one of the cornerstone masterworks of concert band repertoire. Officially premiered in 1920 at the Royal Military School of Music, the manuscript was originally completed in 1909 by British composer Gustav Holst. Along with the subsequent Second Suite in F for Military Band, written in 1911, the first suite was the catalyzing force that convinced many other prominent composers that serious music could be written specifically for the combination of woodwinds, percussion, and brass. Remarkably, the suite in E-flat was actually Holst's first composition written for military band. Frederick Fennell, in Time in the Winds, observes that Holst's scoring for the work is so well conceived and organized for the band medium that he must have had some previous experiences with groups of this kind. Indeed, Holst was himself a formidable trombonist, having already performed several seasons with the Scottish Orchestra prior to the composition of the suite. I hope you enjoy this famous piece of his, the first suite in E-flat for military band. Russell Bennett composed a suite of old American dances in 1950. This suite is an original composition for band in which the composer seeks to set the mood of a Saturday night barn dance with all the gaiety which festivity demands, recalling several of the characteristic dances remembered from his childhood. The goal achieved is a genuine piece of music. not a novelty as one might expect from such a setting. Bennett has described the music as Native American dance forms treated in a riot of instrumental colors, and the composition is distinguished by superb effectiveness of instrumental writing and flow of musical ideas. The dances include cakewalk, western one-step, wallflower waltz, and rag. Tap your toes along to this upbeat and moving piece, Suite of Old American Dances. Clarinet Candy, a piece with some fast fingering featuring, you guessed it, the clarinets. The clarinet is a musical instrument of woodwind type. The name derives from adding the suffix et, meaning little, to the Italian word clarino, meaning a type of trumpet, as the first clarinets had a strident tone similar to that of a trumpet. The instrument has an approximately cylindrical bore and uses a single reed. In jazz context, it has sometimes been informally referred to as the licorice stick, which is fitting, I think, considering the reference to candy in the title of the piece. I hope you enjoyed this special treat of music, Clarinet Candy. Thank you. composer of that piece is one of my favorites, Leroy Anderson. Before we move on, I'd like to invite Lori Meyer up to the stage, as it is. And on behalf of the Muny Band, we'd like to present Valley Schools with a check to show our appreciation for letting us use their facilities each week. It is truly a privilege to have a community band like ours, and we really, really appreciate our local schools for both of their band members and letting us use their facilities each week. Our next piece takes us to the Broadway stage with a medley from the hit musical Jersey Boys. Based on the inspiring rags to riches story of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, the show won the 2006 Tony Award for Best Musical. Mark Breimer's 8-minute medley captures the essence of the Broadway version and includes the songs Can't Take My Eyes Off of You, December 1963, Let's Hang On, Stay, Who Loves You, and Working My Way Back to You. Feel free to sing along to this medley of songs from Jersey Boys. the Governor's March, which is also from composer Leroy Anderson. This wonderful march comes with a remarkable history. Originally titled Governor Bradford March, it was written for orchestra in 1948 and was premiered on July 6, 1948 at a concert by the Boston Pops Orchestra. Governor Bradford even made a special appearance. The piece was then forgotten for 50 years until Tom Everett, director of the Harvard University Band, discovered Mr. Anderson's manuscript for band among some other old band arrangements. This band version was first performed in 1999, and the recording was used by National Public Radio. The namesake of this piece, Robert Fisk Bradford, served one term as the 57th Governor of Massachusetts from 1947 to 1949. I hope you enjoy this Leroy Anderson piece, The Governor's March. Is a shaker song written and composed in 1848 by Elder Joseph Brackett. Though often classified as an anonymous shaker hymn or as a work song, it is better classified as a dance song. The song was largely unknown outside of shaker communities until it became world famous, thanks to its use in Aaron Copland's score for Martha Graham's ballet Appalachian Spring, which was first performed in 1944. Copland used Simple Gifts a second time in 1950 in his first set of old American songs for voice and piano, which was later orchestrated. Many people thought that the tune of Simple Gifts was a traditional Celtic one, but both the music and original lyrics are actually the compositions of Brackett. I hope you enjoy this beautiful tune, Simple Gifts. by Frank Kelly. The piece was written in 2009 in honor of the retirement of Kelly's friend of 40 years, Tracy McElroy. Although Amen is completely instrumental, the thematic material is based on a song with words, which Kelly sang at his friend's retirement party, much to everyone's amusement. The words began, "Tracy McElroy, he's the man. He and Frankie both played trumpet in the band, and they had no woes, both drove GTOs, and they cruised down Forest Lane like pros." Not exactly fitting to a song Amen, but it works. Kelly said the piece is more generally meant as a thank you to all the great music educators out there. I'm sure all you had educators who inspired you. It is a thank you to all of them. So at this time, I'd like to have all of our music educators in the band to please stand so we can recognize you. I know there are a couple. And also stand if you are a college student studying music education. I'm not sure if there are a few of them. All right, there we go. Because without these great music educators, we would not have a band such as ours. And if you're a retired band director, please stand up too. You were certainly part of that group. All right. All right, and now we will hear Amen by Frank Kelly. final piece tonight is The Washington Post by John Philip Sousa. Sousa composed the piece in 1889. Since then, it has remained one of his most popular marches throughout the United States and in many other countries. In 1889, the owners of the Washington Post newspaper requested that Sousa, the leader of the United States Marine Corps Band, compose a march for the newspaper's essay contest award ceremony. Sousa obliged. The Washington Post March was introduced at the ceremony on June 15, 1889, and it became quite popular. It led to a British journalist dubbing Sousa the March King. Sousa is honored in the Washington Post building for his contribution to the newspaper and to his country. I hope you enjoy this march and our final piece of the evening, The Washington Post. Thank you again for joining us this evening. If you enjoyed tonight's concert, please let Mr. Mooney and the players know. Also, I would like to thank again Valley Schools for letting us use their facilities. I'd like to thank Channel 98 for recording our concert